Hi, welcome to the Charcuterie classroom. Again, I'm Kyla Randazzo and I am here to teach you some tips and tricks of my charcuterie boards I use. Today I'm working on kind of a mozzarella platter. I have some friends coming over, so I'm just throwing something together so we can snack on while we have a glass of wine and while we sit and talk and go over different charcuterie items or business. So I have some fresh Georgia peaches that a lady blessed me with. Every year she comes and brings me a case of Georgia peaches. So I'm just gonna slice those up and I'm gonna throw it together with some mozzarella. I have different types of mozzarella, so I wanna teach you guys, sorry, I'm gonna cut that little piece out. So I'm gonna teach you guys about some mozzarella and different types that you can look for when you go into the store. A lot of people aren't familiar that there's different types of mozzarella, so just wanna share with you. I already cut up a small cucumber. Later I'm gonna come back and put some olive oil and salt on them. But right now I'm just throwing a peach together on there. I'm not too worried about placement. Again, it's just for some friends coming over, so just gonna kind of throw it on the board. If it was a board that I was selling through the store, I would probably be a little bit more careful with the placement. But here, I'm just gonna throw it together because we're gonna eat it soon. Still looks pretty. The peaches smell delicious. They are delicious. She's such a great lady. They go to Georgia, pick up some peaches every year, and I am so excited that she blesses me with them every year. So thank you, shout out to her. She knows who she is. So I have 3 peaches. There's gonna be 3 of these in this board, so we can all have a peach if we so desire. Kind of get this out. So I went ahead and washed these earlier. Now you can take the skin off if you want, but you don't have to. Another tip with peaches is they are great with white wine. You can actually cut them up and put them in wine. My father-in-law from Italy, he spoils me every time and always cuts up my peaches. He even takes the peeling off of them and puts them in a glass of white wine for me. Normally I like a Pinot Grigio or a light Chardonnay. In Italy, in case you didn't know, they have wine kind of like a milkman. So they have a guy that actually brings wine to your house. So they have house-made wines that they get. So the one they normally use is kind of in between a Chardonnay and a Pinot Grigio. I'm gonna cut that one a little bit smaller. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna get another cutting board. I'm gonna move this one out. All right. I know charcuterie, you kind of blend your flavors together, but I don't like to blend it on my boards. So we're gonna go with some mozzarella. So I actually have 3 types of mozzarella here. There's another one that I wanted, but we were running low at the restaurant, so I couldn't get it. But a Burrata mozzarella is gonna be a full mozzarella. They're either between 2 to 4 ounces typically, and it has a full coating on the outside, but when you open it up, it's very creamy, almost spreadable. So a lot of times you see this as an appetizer with prosciutto, some tomatoes, that sort of thing. You may see it on a pizza. So I'm gonna take it, and I'm actually gonna place it on my board and just cut it right in half and open it up, okay? So again, see how it's kind of creamy in the middle? So this is the burrata. At the end, again, I'm gonna come through, do some, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, throw it right on there. So it has that hard layered covering on the outside like a typical mozzarella would, but it's very creamy, spreadable. You can spread it on bread, on crackers, cucumbers, nice, again, peaches, that sort of thing. So these are called Ciliegine. And you can get them either way. You can get them marinated or not marinated. These are Ciliegine, so they're just a small. I'm gonna cut these in half. Now I'm gonna place them on the other side, right here. So I'm just gonna do a few of these. Typically, I do not get them marinated, and I would marinate them myself. But I took the fast way today. These are actually good marinated, but sometimes I like to add garlic in mine when I marinate it because I love garlic. But it's up to you. And sometimes I like a little spice, so sometimes I'll put a little red pepper, roasted red pepper in there. It's great too. Take 2 or 3 at a time, just cut them in half. Later I'm going to show you how to do skewers. Skewers are great. These are fantastic to do on skewers. And skewers are nice if you're need something like finger food type thing, because people can just grab them. It's not as messy. And so these Ciliegine is great for that. So the other type of mozzarella that I don't have would be a regular mozzarella underwater, but it's called the ovellini. Ovellini is an egg size and they're 4 ounces. Those are great. We really like them. Sometimes you do see the ovellini gonna be in a vacuum sealed container. I'm not a big fan of those. It takes out all the water. It's not as fresh. I really like the ovellini to be under the water. I'm not as picky as my husband, so I will eat it either way. But my husband, sorry, I gotta pour out the water. Is quite picky because he came from Italy. So this one here is a buffalo mozzarella. So buffalo mozzarella is typically from Lazio region, from Rome, southern. You find it a lot southern in like Naples, that sort of thing. But it's from a Mediterranean buffalo milk. And it's very soft. Normally the ovellini is a little bit smaller than this, so I would say this is probably about 6 ounces. It's very hard to find in America, but if you find it, get it, because it's so good. And it just cuts so easy. Normally an ovellini, even underwater, does not cut this smooth. So I have one here, and I'm just gonna open it up. I'm gonna put it right here on my board. And I'm gonna stick some green. This is basil, fresh basil I just picked from my somewhat garden that I have. I have a little container gardens outside. So I'm gonna kind of put that in there so it looks pretty, and they can pair it with the mozzarella. So I have some more I'm gonna do on this side. And I have some rosemary I'm gonna throw over there. Another great one is pickles. You could throw some little pickles in here if you wanted. I normally don't use pickles on my board unless it's something I'm eating right away, because you don't want it to overwhelm your board. Pickles, especially if you leave it overnight. A lot of times when I make boards, I don't know when they're gonna eat it, or I make it a day in advance. So you wanna make sure that it's fresh, and you don't want everything tasting like a pickle. So pickles will overwhelm your board, so will blue cheese, that sort of thing. So yeah, and the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, hope I can open this with my gloves. We're gonna take some sun-dried tomatoes, pour it out a little bit, and we're gonna throw it right here in between the burrata and the peaches. All right, so here we go. Cut them in half. Sometimes it can be a little bit chewy, so it's good to, like this, that's a good size. Sometimes they're a little bit big, so it's always good just to kind of cut them in half. So there's your sun-dried tomatoes. I'm not gonna put too many out. So this is a normal size. Cutting in half makes it a little easier to eat and to grab. So here we go. We got one more thing. We're gonna do some tomatoes. And I'm already running out of room. So, all right, the tomatoes, I like a cherry tomato, but we also have a heirloom tomato, or we have Campari. Campari are great tomatoes as well, but for this one, I'll just have a little space right here. And my daughter loves cherry tomatoes. She even picks them right off the tree. So she's gonna be here in a little bit, so we're gonna put some cherry tomatoes on for her. She's 7, and she's so excited that I'm doing a YouTube channel. So please like and share. I'm gonna throw this right in here. You kind of have to scooch this over a little bit, which is normal. You kind of have to make space. Just be careful with the knife whenever you're cutting. Sometimes the gloves get a little slippery. So, especially when you do the sun-dried tomatoes, has the oil on it, your hands get oily. So I always keep paper towels next to me so that I can wipe it off and just keep going. Again, it doesn't matter if it kind of blends the flavors a little bit, because that's what charcuterie is all about. Mixing and matching and trying different, you get your sweet and your salty and your different flavors together. All right, so here we go. We got that board. And I had some meats to add to it. So I'm gonna throw, this is prosciutto Parma. I'm gonna scoop this here. I'm gonna throw some prosciutto on there. Again, prosciutto, I don't like to cut it, but I'll just tear it with my hands and wrap it around my finger. And my daughter just got here, so we're about to eat this board as soon as we finish this meat. I thank y'all for joining us, and please share to all your friends and family. Again, there's no wrong way. I don't know if I said it this time, but charcuterie is a piece of art. So even though I give you tips and tricks, please don't think that's a final rule that you have to do. But with prosciutto, I do try to go a little bit thinner on the pieces. It can be a little chewy if you're not used to it, and not everybody likes it. But it's good to have a little salty. Prosciutto is great with some sweetness. So those peaches, it's going to pair nicely with. Prosciutto always pairs nicely with any kind of mozzarella, any kind of cheese too. I have a genuine salami here. Typically with genuine salami, I cut it in half. And then I make folds. I call them envelope folds. I'm not sure why, but that's just kind of my saying. And I go back and forth. Flat's always on the bottom, and so you just fold. I don't know how well y'all can see, but you could just fold and kind of go back and forth. And it kind of comes to a stack. An envelope stack, which I don't know again why I call it envelope, but that's just kind of my saying, what I've always gone with. You can also make roses out of salami, and pepperoni makes roses as well. I don't do a lot of those. I think they're kind of hard to eat, but they do look beautiful. Just depends on the occasion. So let's see, where are we gonna put this? I think we're gonna do it right here on this side. We're gonna make a little room. And I didn't have very much salami this time because not all of us eat meats, but being that Sophia's coming, she loves salami and she loves cherry tomatoes, so I wanted to make sure I had that on the board for her. Again, when you choose different things, it's normally like what people like. The first thing I ask people is like, do you have an allergy? Are you allergic to something? And so, or do you have any absolute favorites or any dislikes? And so we go from there. But here we go. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so Sophia's here, and let's see if she approves. Do you approve on the board? Don't eat it unless your hands are clean.
I don't like apples.
That's not apples, it's peaches.
Yeah.
All right, say hi to everybody. This is Sophia, and we're about to go and start eating on our board. I hope you guys like it.